What's going on, Black family? This is Crystal Gordon, C.O.O. of Amani Na Badha, and today I'm coming to you live and direct from Pasadena, California. Today I want to discuss some issues about mental health as it relates to us as Black women. I want to give us the courtesy of acknowledging our own suffering and give us some room, that we need as strong Black women. As that image they always try to portray of us as being superwoman. We need to just be human sometimes and recognize that we are not invulnerable, that our strength is not infinite, that strength is absolute. However, we can be exhausted at times, especially with all the white supremacy, patriarchy, misogyny, gaslighting, all of that stuff accumulates the stress, and it's probably getting to you if you were honest with yourself about that. So right now, we just want to go over the basics of mental health, talk about how you need to take care of yourself and how you can achieve wellness. So before we begin, we need to address the fact that the erasure of mental illness in Black people is real. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard people talking about how they aren't allowed to acknowledge issues like depression, anxiety, different neurological states like autism in their own families. I've heard elders in our community completely dismiss these issues as white folks' problems, because there's too much stigma attached to it. When you bring up a Black person who's having a mental disorder or intellectual disability, all of a sudden it's a mark of weakness and we don't want to talk about that. Or you rush them over to the church and try to pray it away. But that's just not going to work anymore. That's what this presentation is about. We're going to help you understand exactly what is mental health, the myths and the facts of it, of poor mental health, the warning signs of poor mental health, so that we can prevent this in our community. Now, a very concise definition of mental health is that it is your mind, body, spirit connection. That's because it includes your emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how you think, how you feel, and how you act. It also helps determine how you handle your stress, how you relate to other people, and how you make choices. It is imperative at every stage of your life, from childhood on through adulthood. There's so many things that factor into poor mental health, so many contributing factors, and they're very common, and help is available. And you can recover. You can get better. But you have to understand what it is that we're talking about here and what factors into it. Let's say that you were victimized by the church and experienced some major stress and abuse from that. You have to address that. You have to, in order to get better. You can't become docile and not talk about it. You have to address it. Alright, so now it's time for us to learn the truth about the most common mental health myths. There's so much who shot John out there about mental health don't affect me. I don't understand that at all. When 1 in 5 Americans experience a mental health issue. 1 in 10 young people have experienced a period of major depression. 1 in 25 Americans have lived with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and major depression. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It accounts for the loss of more than 41,000 people in America each year, more than double the number of lives that are lost to homicide. So I really don't know what y'all talking about. It's all kinds of myths out there that have to be dealt with. There's a difference between a myth and a fact. And the fact is, mental health problems are actually very common. So cut out the foolishness because it probably affects you or someone you know. Now, another myth is that people with mental health problems are violent and unpredictable. The fact is that the vast majority of people with mental health problems are no more likely to be violent than anybody else. Most people with mental illness are not violent, and only 3 to 5% of violent acts can be attributed to people living with a serious mental illness. In fact, people with serious mental illnesses are like over 10 times more likely to be victims of violent crime than the general population. You probably know someone with a mental health problem and don't even realize it, because many people with mental health problems are highly active and productive members of our community. So, don't come around here with mental health problems, make people violent and unpredictable. They're probably right next to you in the cubicle. Another myth is that prevention doesn't work. It's impossible to prevent mental illness. I don't even understand that at all. Prevention of mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders, focuses on addressing known risk factors. Those factors we were talking about earlier, like exposure to trauma that can affect the chances of you developing mental health problems. Like if you had been a victim at school, that might deter you from feeling comfortable going to college. If you had been a victim in grade school. So stuff like that has to be addressed. And if you don't address it, that would be impossible for you to get over and recover from. So I don't understand the logic where prevention doesn't work. Promoting the social, emotional well-being of people ultimately leads to higher overall productivity, a stronger community, improved quality of life, improved family life, increased lifespan, lower crime rates. All these things are imperative for our community. So I don't understand why people are going around here talking about prevention doesn't work. It is the best thing for this issue. Also, there's something about, people with mental illness and how, it's not a big deal. They can just snap out of it. Like, that's outrageous. Mental health problems have nothing to do with you being lazy or weak. Many people need help to get better. So they have to understand those factors we were talking about earlier, and then understand that they need to address them in order to get over them and recover completely. I don't understand how people think that you can just snap out of it if you try harder. This isn't like personality weakness or some character flaw. These are problems that have to be addressed, period. Now, if you are not sure if you or someone you know is living with mental health problems, experiencing one or more of the following feelings or behaviors can be an early warning sign of a problem. If you're eating or sleeping too much or too little, that's something to look out for. If you're pulling away from people and usual activities, or if you don't have enough energy or low energy, that's an early warning sign. If you're feeling numb or like nothing really matters, if you're feeling helpless or hopeless, if you're feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared, there's a problem on the horizon. If you're yelling with your family and your friends, if you're thinking about harming other people or yourself, there's problems. There's problems afoot. If you can't perform your daily tasks like taking care of your kids or getting to work or to school, you need to learn more about what we're talking about here. About the specific mental health problems that are afoot. And you need to understand where you can find help like Amani Na Badha and other places. It is imperative that you learn more about mental health. Positive mental health allows people to realize their full potential, cope with the stresses of life, work productively, and make meaningful contributions to their communities. We need to reach our full potential as a people. We have got to learn how to cope with the stresses of this life. We have got to learn how to work productively and make meaningful contributions to the collective. That is why mental health is so important. You have to learn that. There are so many ways to maintain positive mental health, which include getting professional help if you need it. We're available. There's lots of other professionals who are available, but it's up to you to access the services that are available to you. You need to connect with other people. You have to stay positive and get physically active and help other people. And you have to get enough sleep. That is so important. And also, you just have to learn how to develop your coping skills. You got to put these skills into your toolbox. Now, getting help is the first step in prevention. If you get help, you will have a fighting chance, because most people with mental health problems can get better. But Black people often don't get the mental health services they need because they don't know where to start. Amani Na Badha is a start. You can come and talk to us, and we will try to connect you with the right mental health services. You can also talk to your primary care doctor or any other professional who is interested in health and wellness, and you can connect with them and talk to them about your mental health problem, most likely. But treatment and recovery is an ongoing process. It's something that will take place over time, so you have to have stamina in this. That's why you have to build up your toolbox, and you need to know numbers like 911 if you are in need of immediate emergency assistance. You need to know numbers like 1-800-273-TALK. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you are in distress. So those are things you have to have in your toolbox off the top of your head. So what is recovery? Recovery from mental health issues is a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness. They live a self-directed life, and ultimately they strive to achieve their full potential. The 4 dimensions of recovery, the 4 major dimensions that support a life in recovery, include health, home, purpose, and community. When we're talking about health, we're talking about making healthy choices that support your physical and emotional well-being. When we're talking about home, we're talking about having a stable and safe place to live. When we're talking about purpose, we're talking about being engaged in meaningful daily activities, such as your job or school or volunteering or caring for your family or just being creative. When you go to work, that's for your independence, for your income, and for your resources to participate in society. All of that is tied up in your purpose. And then when we're talking about community, we're talking about building relationships and social networks that provide you with support. Now, if you are struggling with a mental health problem, you may want to develop a written recovery plan. These types of plans enable you to identify your goals for achieving wellness. They specify what you can do to reach those goals. They include daily activities as well as long-term goals. They track any changes in your mental health problem, and they identify triggers or other stressful events that can make you feel worse and help you learn how to manage them. So if you need help developing a recovery plan, you can reach out to us. You can talk to us, you can call us, you can email us, you can visit us on social media, or you can visit our website and get in contact. You need to learn more about recovering from these problems. Help yourself down the path to recovery. You can get information from us, which provides resources, and we deliver services that can help you with these problems. So feel free to talk to us anytime. Thank you so very much for watching this presentation. It was my pleasure to share this information with you. Feel free to share it with your friends and your family and across your social networks. By being involved in Amani Na Badha, I feel so empowered. And by sharing this information with you, I feel that we are one step away from making Black people feel empowered as well, in California and beyond. We here at Amani Na Badha are all about supporting legislation, destigmatizing mental health discussions, providing affordable, accessible, and relevant and culturally competent treatment to our people. We aim to close the treatment gap. Feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you so much again.